Hello and welcome back. Today we're not here to talk about anything good. We're talking about all the bad films that I can't stand that make me feel nauseous, sick, depressed, frustrated, angry, disappointed, and all of the negative things that come from a piss poor production. So, my top 10 worst movies are: at number 10, we've got Godzilla from 1998. This film was hyped to be the next huge thing. It was going to be bigger than Jurassic Park. The problem was, it was gross to look at. It has an ensemble cast that are so mismatched. That's not a good mix. It feels like everybody who got the script for this film was like, no. Like, it feels bottom of the barrel. Jurassic Park broke the mold, and in the 90s we had this huge trend where monsters and creatures were CGI'd. The problem was, in 1997 we'd already had Jurassic Park II, and that failed at the box office compared to the first one. People were disappointed, and Godzilla was kind of similar in vein. They end up in a city. Godzilla's just a big dinosaur, or what it appears, and it's the same. It's a lizard, but it's crap. The best thing about Godzilla is the soundtrack, and that's all I'm going to say about that film. Now at number 9, we've got RoboCop III. This film is so ugly to watch after seeing the beauty of the first one. The not so good, but better than this, RoboCop 2. RoboCop 3 feels like a cheap, straight to VHS kids movie. How can it go from being this character that was so stricken by disaster visually and emotionally to this now robot who seems to be happy-go-lucky, helping these kids? Everything about this is bad. He has a rocket pack. Like a rocket pack. This is the third film. A rocket pack on RoboCop. I'm leaving it there. It's that bad. Okay. So, I've got on number 8, Police Academy 7, Mission to Moscow. No, most of the police academies are bad. They're not that funny. Like, it's like family fun. Why they decided to go and make this one in Russia, I have no idea. Did I laugh out loud at this? Yes. The scene with Commandant Lassard and the egg and the Russian family. That's it. It's the only funny thing in this film. It feels so disjointed. It feels dismembered from the previous 6 films. The credits are different. It feels like it's from a different production company. A desperate attempt to try and cash grab. And it's vile. It's bleached of colour. It's not nice to watch. And it makes me feel sick. So I'm putting it there. Now, I don't care what people say at this point. At number 7, I've got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, because of the awful CGI in the flashback scenes. This film is here. It's just disturbing to watch that this is released in 2024. I would have just said, no, don't release it, or I would have blurred his face, or I would have done something. I wouldn't have released that. I would have been embarrassed as the director. I would have been so nervous the night before that got premiered, because I would have seen it, and with my own eyes I would have known that looked fucking shit. The incoherent story, the CGI face mapped, it's not good, and it's a shame because it's Indiana Jones, and the first 3 films are superb and should have just been left there. These last 2 are a travesty, so I'm just going to put that one there. Next, for the most disappointing films that I've ever seen and make me want to cry when I watch them, they're that bad, is Glass. the sequel to Split and Unbreakable. This could have been so phenomenal. And instead we get one of the most dullest, weird, lack of story, lack of progression, lack of enthusiasm movies I've ever seen. It is disgusting to watch. And Bruce Willis, bless him, I don't know if this was at the start of his dementia, but he just phones in his performance, and it's painful to watch. And a travesty again to be classed as a sequel to Unbreakable, which was good, and Split, which was good. Like, those two combined franchises could have been something epic, and it just isn't. So I'm going to put that on there. Next, at number 5, we've got one of the most disappointing sequels, prequels, I don't even know what it is, The Matrix Resurrections. Keanu Reeves just telephones in his performance in this. He's got long hair in this because he's so attached to John Wick that he doesn't even feel like he's trying to be Neo anymore, or a version of him. He keeps doing this weird hand gesture when he's learning his powers, where it's like blasting people away, and I don't know what that is, or why that becomes his thing throughout the entire production. The hype for this movie was insane. The potential for this movie was insane. And it just feels like a big fuck you to the audiences. And I don't see me watching this ever again, because when it comes on, or I see it, or people talk about it, I want to switch off. I get no joy from watching this in any way, shape or form. Now, number 4. We've got the Catwoman with Halle Berry. This is shockingly bad. This feels like a commercial, like an MTV commercial with a very limited budget. Like, they must have spent more on Halle Berry than the CGI in this film, or the writing, or the directing. You've got Sharon Stone, you know, an acting legend, as the villain in this, and it's so cartoonishly ridiculous, like a cosmetic brand is getting people addicted to using their cosmetics, and if they don't use them, then they like fall apart. Like, it's that much of an addiction, and this is the story we're meant to swallow after we've seen Batman and Robin, after we've seen X-Men, like a good quality film, and then we get this. It's terrible. Halle Berry was so miscast as Catwoman, and I don't ever want to watch that one again. So I'm putting that one there. Next, at number 3 is Thor: Love and Thunder. This was so disappointing. After the success of Thor Ragnarok and Endgame, Infinity War, like, he was on a roll, and I was embarrassed when I watched Love and Thunder for Christian Bale, a fine actor who puts in a stellar performance as the villain. The problem is the rest of the film is a comedy, and it makes light-hearted humour around serious subjects like people having cancer and being terminally ill, and it just doesn't work well for me. It doesn't blend well. They changed the law on the hammer, so anybody can pick up Mjolnir now, just anybody, and it's just awful, and I don't know how they can come back from it, to be honest. So, at number 2, I've got Batman and Robin. The reason it's at number 2 is because it's disappointing because of my love for Batman. You've got the first 3. We know that Batman Forever is not as good as the first 2, but it was on some sort of high, and we were all on board for it in 1995, and we wanted more Batman. And the fact that Val Kilmer wasn't coming back just screamed problems. but we still anticipated it because we had Arnold Schwarzenegger coming in as the villain. And it's like, wow, this is going to be interesting with Uma Thurman. But the cracks started to show. As soon as it starts, you've got this phenomenal intro credits at the time. But as soon as the movie starts, we know the tone is going down. And that's with Alfred making a gag. And the fact that the Batmobile has no roof and he's driving it to meet Mr. Freeze because Commissioner Gordon's warning him, and it's just got this campy, awful feel, and it's got the worst colour tones ever. It overly uses the neon in this one. We already had it in Batman Forever, and for some reason they thought, yeah, we'll have more of that. And everything is so corny with the way it's acted. The only sincere parts of this film are the Bruce Wayne and Alfred parts. The fact that he's got an illness and he's dying, those parts are touching. The rest of it is just complete and utter garbage, and I've watched it way too many times. It doesn't deserve to be rewatched this many times, but I still watch it. I hate it, and I expect to get something new from it every time I watch it, but I never will. So that leaves me with the worst film that I cannot stand when it comes on TV or anything like that, and that is Mike Myers in Cat in the Hat. It's a visual explosion of vomit. It's a colourful, disgusting, putrid, sickly, unfunny, unentertaining, uninspired cartoon, which is live action, and everything about it is just gross. I cannot stand this film, and it seems to be shoved on every TV network at Christmas, Easter, because it's so cheap. Nobody wants to watch it. So the TV networks put it on. You'll get it bundled on streaming sites because it's crap. Mike Myers can be funny, but not in this. This was a complete and utter misfire, and one of the worst films I've ever seen. So you might agree with my list, you might not. These are for me 10 of the worst films that I do not like rewatching at all. And I'm just going to leave that one there.